If they do that, they're going to be very, 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 very tough to beat.
Wilson! Oh! And we are tied!
Let's go!
Call them five slamma jam.
And I don't ever let them forget where we come from.
Getting those phones out. Report me acting ignorant.
Zion Kris got his way through, and he may go! Kris is in! Houston leads out of nowhere!
Seventh heaven for Houston. The Cougars advance to their seventh Final Four.
Go Cougs! Let's go! It's so good! The dream remains alive for the Houston Cougars!
Can't hear you, Andy.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Rage Coogs presented by the Saxenian Family. Big thank you to our sponsors right off the bat, beginning with Steve Saxenian for being a primary sponsor of not only this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, but each and every single post-game show for the remainder of the men's basketball season. Big thank you to Star Pizza, who got the big shout out from head coach Kelvin Sampson earlier in the week with multiple locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before or after the game, and after an outing like this one from the Fertitta Center, you could use some Star Pizza in your life. The Houston Cougars, the 7th-ranked Houston Cougars, who moved up in the AP poll earlier in the week on Monday, put on a slobber knocker against Texas Tech, 14th-ranked Texas Tech, and the Cougars got some payback from last year, the last time that these two teams met inside of the Fertitta Center. It didn't go Houston's way, and for portions of this game, look, it was kind of a tug-of-war battle. Houston, Texas Tech kept trying to get a battle for control. The Red Raiders kind of went on a run there where they looked like they might pull away, and then Houston came back. And listen, the story of the game, leading right off the bat, final 2 minutes, taken over by Kingston Flemings. Big game Flemings showed up once again, and he showcased why, Dayon, we talked about it all fair, but every time he gets a chance to show out in one of these big game performances, he's shown out this season, and that's why we believe that not only is he going to be one and done, which might, unfortunate for you, we don't get to see him here for the long term, but really, really good for us this season, and just the talent of Kingston Flemings. He took them to the finish line tonight, hit 3 3-pointers in the final 1 minute, 41 seconds of this game, and he had ice cold water running on in his veins. He was cold-blooded in this finale against Texas Tech.
They say big-time players make big-time plays in big situations, and that's exactly what he did. That step-up three, then that big three, even there's still a couple plays before that, that was really, really big. And so, man, Kingston is him. Kingston is definitely going to be a lottery pick. I mean, he's gone. Just the plays that he made, the passes, just all game, the poise that he plays with, the tempo, how he changed his speed, the change his pace, using just everything about his game. He's always one pass ahead, one rotation ahead, seeing where the help is coming. But down the stretch, Kingston carried us. I mean, Kingston is really a bad boy. And it was good to see him to beat a team which was his top 2 in recruiting. I mean, it came down between us and Texas Tech, and he showed up tonight. I mean, Kingston was spectacular.
Yeah, Texas Tech really wish that he was on their side, but he's wearing that scarlet and white Houston Cougars red, and the Cougars got to show out. I think that comment from Mr. Big Texco says it all. Enjoy Kingston while you can, because he's leaving after this year, and if he keeps putting together performances like this, especially if he does it, and we just mentioned big-time games so far this season, the deeper that Houston gets into the season, not only do we think that he's going to be a one and done, but listen, I think the sky's the ceiling the way he's playing. He could easily be a top 5 pick, like we mentioned, all fair. But a big comment from Hunter ANG5 on YouTube as well. This was, even though Kingston had the heroics at the end of the game, I think this is probably Houston's best win of the season. Truly, when it comes to how they performed overall, multiple players on the team, a lot of players stepped up in this game. Emmanuel Sharp had a good bounce back from the dreadful offensive performance that he had to open conference play on the road in Cincinnati. He was really had his shot going in the first half, was in double-digit scoring-wise at halftime. Kris Gardner, his contributions big time
Chris
in
was
this
big.
game. He had a double-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds. JoJo Tugler, I think, arguably had his best performance of the season. I found it interesting. Before Kingston Flemings hit those 3 threes, the Cougars were trying to force feed him down low a little bit. He had a good hook shot possession prior, and then Texas Tech came down and they got a block, but he had a nice little hook shot in crunch time when Houston was trying to get some easy baskets. He also finished with a double in rebounding. Tugler did with 11 points and 10 rebounds. And like I said, Emmanuel Sharp had 17 points to go along with Kingston Flemings, who led Houston in scoring. 23 points for Flemings, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. And again, 9 of those 23 points came in the final 141 for the Houston Cougars, and that lifted them past the Red Raiders in what was a really, really good game. Just overall, this is a good showing for the Big 12. That's the type of game that the conference wants to showcase when they're talking about them being a premier conference when it comes to not only college basketball, but basketball, period. And I think, again, going back to Hunter, that's a great comment that he had. It was kind of an Elite Eight type game. I saw on Twitter or on X from, I believe it was Go Cougs, they made a post from Texas Tech head coach Grant Casco, who talked first after the game, but he shouted out the Fertitta Center and how much of a crazy atmosphere it was. You could feel that through the television, and I can't imagine Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review will join us here shortly. He was live from the Fertitta Center. That's why he hasn't joined us yet. He's getting post-game coverage, getting to listen to both head coach Kelvin Sampson players and from the Texas Tech perspective. But listen, give credit to Houston fans. They showed out. They played their role, and they did a phenomenal job of showing out. And what was a great game. Again, Houston comes away with the 69-65 victory over the Red Raiders.
Man, and post players was big. JoJo was big, and Kris Gardner was big. They both dominated on the boards, both finished with doubles. They really were just swallowing up on the glass. Didn't really. How many offensive rebounds did Tech had? I don't think they had that many. Uh,
I'll get it for you real
yeah,
quick. They
yeah, I'm
had
looking
8.
right
You're
now.
right, exactly right. Just
Right,
8
and so
offensive rebounds for the game.
man, we really dominated on the glass, and and got some big rebounds, big deflections that led to offensive rebounds, and they really communicated well on the switch in the way they guarded the pick and roll. They really did a great job of guarding Anderson and not allowing him to really get loose. And he had a tough time all lap when they tried to do a lot of pick and rolls with the way we um, blitzed him on those pick and rolls and forced to extend him. That really helped our defense a lot. And then Emmanuel, got to credit Emmanuel. I mean, you mentioned him, but he really got us off to a good start. I mean, he struggled last game, but he bounced back big time, getting off to a really good start. And then, I mean, it really down the stretch, our defense is really what won that game. I mean,
Yeah.
end up getting some turnovers. I think the pressure really plagued them. I think during the broadcast they talked about the amount of minutes that Texas Tech starters played, and they wondered what fatigue set in. I'm not going to say it did, but the turnovers they had down stretch was big, and then Kingston just kind of taking over. I think JoJo did have one go-to move that he made, that left hand hook over
Mhm.
topping. Tried to go back to him and and topping blocked it, but that was big, and so. This was a really good game. I mean, a really good game, hard fought game. I think Texas Tech is our rival in the Big 12, and way to avenge that last loss at home. And I remember that game, Kingston missed a couple free throws, which could have came back to bite us.
Yeah.
Chris came back, got to the free throw line. I believe he made one, and Kingston came down and made the other.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just in terms of overall, the big plays that, again, multiple players had in this outing. Dayon, you mentioned Texas Tech only 8 offensive rebounds. Houston beat them in that category. Houston had 12 offensive rebounds. Overall, Houston won the rebounding battle, 36-35. And going back to the point that you made about Houston's defense and how crucial that was to come away with this victory over Texas Tech. I tweeted this out a few minutes ago, but down the stretch, Texas Tech led 59-55 with 3:38 left in the second half. And they kind of, I guess it wasn't a true shutout. They held Texas Tech to just 3 points almost the rest of the way. Again, they trailed 59-55 with just over 3:30 left in the game, and when there was only 2 seconds left in the game before Texas Tech got that last three, Houston led 69-62. So they held Texas Tech to just 3 points, and then the offense picked up. They essentially closed the game on a 14-3 run before that final three that Texas Tech hit as time was running out. But that defense was crucial for Houston, and again, I think this is the best overall team performance that Houston's had early in the season. And it's big time that it came against Texas Tech, and like you mentioned, one of the rivals. I think the premier rival in the Big 12, just overall, specifically when we're talking about the men's basketball. Last year that was the only team that beat Houston in Big 12 conference play. It always seems like these two teams, when they meet, regardless of whether it's football or basketball, there's a little extra level of excitement and just motivation. Real quick, just going back to the win, it improves Houston's record to 14-1 overall. Obviously, now second game in Big 12 play, and Houston's a perfect 2-0 so far early to start. Just overall, great performance, great win for the Cougars in this game. And the last point I wanted to mention, just in terms of good and bad, overall, I feel like Houston, top to bottom, as a free throw shooting team, has done well. It's certainly better than maybe previous iterations of the Houston Cougars. And when you look at the stat sheet in this game, I mean, they went 17 for 22 from the free throw line, but some of those misses, crucial situations. You mentioned Chris Sinak. He split a pair when they were in the bonus that put Houston up just 3, and he could have made it a 2-possession game. And before that, Milos Uzan on the 1-and-1 missed a front pair. Again, give credit to Sinak, who drew the foul on the rebound, drew the loose ball foul, and that led him going to the free throw line, and ultimately he got to split the pair, which was a big play in the game. But Sinak was very active on the board. Like I mentioned, he had a double-double, finished with 11 rebounds, but he also had a very big play down the stretch, and I can't remember exactly when it was. I know it was during towards the tail end of the game, but he got a nice offensive. Well, I don't even know if they counted it as a true offensive rebound for him, but that ball, he didn't really have a chance to grab it himself, but he punched it last second out. And Houston was able to maintain possession. They bought him an extra possession. So Sinak did a phenomenal job of making really key plays for Houston in this win against Texas Tech.
Yeah, and him and JoJo, for the most part, shot free throws really well. JoJo 3 for 3 and Kris 3 for 4. So that's big as well. And just their energy, the way they communicate, the rotation, look, a lot more fluid today. I mean, it wasn't, I think, one that I can remember where they caught us in rotation and Top was able to catch it down low. But other than that, the rotations were on point. I mean, weren't many laps on the rotations. And so I think this was probably our best effort in execution defensively. Even the block that McCarty came
Flemings.
in and
Oh,
made. No, the one that McCarty came in and made ended up being the big play. The block that Kingston made in transition was a big
in the
play.
first half.
But
That
yeah,
was athletic as hell that
it
Kingston
was.
Flemings
It
had.
was. It
Um,
was.
And again, that kind of goes back to show how loud it was in the Fertitta Center that they blew the whistle. They called it goaltending originally, and it was so loud inside the Fertitta Center that none of the players heard the initial whistle, and they kept playing for what felt like probably about 5 seconds after. And they initially called it goaltending. They went back, they reviewed it, and Flemings, dang, he got up there and he got to the ball right before it hit the backboard. So that was another phenomenal play from Flemings
Yes.
in this game.
That play and the steal. I can't remember what the score was in that
Yeah.
point, but those two plays were really huge. And man, it was just good to see us execute down the stretch. And this was just a close game. The biggest lead was 7 until they made that 3 at the end, cut the
To
lead down
4.
to what? Yeah, to 4.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was a back and forth game. I would just once Tech had those two turnovers, one went through their hands, and the other turnover when Edwards just lost it out of bounds. I I was lip reading on after that timeout, and Coach Keller Sampson was. It seems like I read his lips. He was like, they're folding. And as I'm watching, that's what I'm seeing too. Or maybe he said something else, or they're breaking, whatever. Along the terms that they were kind of falling apart. Some
Yeah.
along the lines of that. And I was just wondering, could we turn it up just another notch to be able to turn on and take the lead, and Kingston come down and hit the three. But some of the passes he made, I mean, Chris Sinek did a good job of reading the baseline and diving uh, when Kingston was driving to the basket, and those dish off passes was really important. And Milos, I know he struggled shooting the ball tonight. I know he was only 2 for 12, but he did make some timely plays. He made some timely plays. He had some turnovers that we can't have, but for the most part, he made some timely plays. Just ability to break down the defense was big. And so, and he defended well tonight for the most part. I mean, Tech they hit some crazy threes. I mean, their guard, Jalen Petty, he made some big shots. He made some big shots to his credit. But the defense that Emmanuel had on Chris Anderson for the most part, I think at one point we switched it um, and put him on, I forgot who it was, maybe Atwell. But for the most part, the way that he and the way we regarded him on screen and rolls, I think that was really, really huge for us. And I mean, this was a good team win. I mean,
Yeah.
a really, really, really good team win. And once again, I think we see how the rotation will be tight. I mean, and Kingston, man, I can't stress enough how Kingston is just so poised, and it's I think what surprises me the most with watching him is just his temperament that he plays with. I mean, not too fast. The moment it doesn't seem too big. He makes the right play in key situations. But our bigs, I mean, I got to give a shout out to our bigs. Kris and JoJo both finished with double doubles. I mean, we need both of them to swallow up the glass. And I think Kingston led guards in rebounding, if I'm not mistaken. He had 5 assists. He had 3 rebounds. Yeah, so he led the guards in
Yeah.
rebounding as well. And so it was a good game. I mean, a really good game. Chase did come out and make some winning plays too. I mean, I got to shout out to Chase rotations. That block, he got a tip out, a deflection. Should be a rebound, controlled tip, which was really big. And so it was a lot of winning plays that we made. And it seems like the Fatita was rocking. I mean, Tyus Bowser, he was really into it. The camera caught him a lot. And so I wish I could have been there in attendance tonight.
Absolutely, and you going back to your point about the big men real quick for Houston, Jojo Tugler again. I feel like this is easily his best performance of the season so far. From Tugler and how active. I know this is something that we've talked about in previous shows and something that Fluff has gotten on JoJo Tugler a lot when it comes to his rebounding. But today he was a monster on the offensive glass, offensive rebound for Tugler. He finished with 7 offensive rebounds for Houston, and again overall he had 10 for the double double for Houston. And like you mentioned about Kingston Flemings, 3 rebounds, led the way when it came to the guards, Milos and Emmanuel. Maybe not their best rebounding night with just a rebound each between the pair, but again, going back to JoJo Tugler, really, really solid, strong performance. He was active. Seems like he not only was up for the challenge of guarding JT Toppin, but I think overall he did a really, really solid job not getting caught up in the matchup and then, putting together a really strong performance against a really, really good player and a really good team in Texas Tech.
I think he showed tonight why he is one of the reigning defensive player of the year. I mean, some of the timely deflections, timely blocks that he got in one-on-one matchups with JT Topping, who was a walking double-double. And I mean, he really played well tonight. I mean, from the rebounding to even catching the ball and finishing in the post. I know he got one shot blocked by JT Topping, but he had made timely baskets too. And shout him to his free throws. I mean, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, those are big. Those are really, really big. And we can't understate how big those free throws was and all the plays that he made.
Absolutely. And then looking from the Texas Tech perspective, I know something you mentioned, Dayon, really the strong game that Jalen Petty had for the Red Raiders. He led them in scoring with 20 points on 6 for 10 shooting. JT Toppin was right behind him with 18 points on 9 of 14 shooting. And then so was Donovan Atwell, who had a stretch there where he hit a couple of big threes. First Texas Tech, when they made their run early in the second half, he finished with 13 points on on 3 of 10 shooting, but he did a good job again when he caught fire from the 3-point line. He kind of hit in a series of flurries against Houston, but outside of those 3, and even at times against those 3, overall team defense, again, going back to the crunch time for Houston, they did a really solid job defensively against the Red Raiders, especially, like I said, in crunch time when it came down to the nitty-gritty, they had to make plays. They came really close to pitching a shutout, like I said, just holding them to 3 points. And the tenacity, there was a possession down the stretch where they forced a shot clock violation, and it just seemed like Texas Tech was discombobulated in one of the plays that you mentioned, Dayon, where it seemed like they forced a lot of the Red Raider players to kind of rush and feel the need that they have to, just accelerate, because some of the other turnovers that they had were just simple mental errors that I give a lot of credit to Houston because of how tenacious, in my opinion, they were playing on defensively. It forced Texas Tech to either feel uncomfortable or kind of speed up, thinking that they had less time when they actually did, or in the case of the shot clock violation, playing such good defense that they had to force a kind of a Hail Mary of a shot to end the possession, and they didn't even get rim, and that led to the shot clock violation.
I mean, they really never allow Tech to get into a flow offensively, and they really Emmanuel and the way we played guard at the screens really impacted Texas Tech offense. And Chris Nag, I mean, I can't talk about the defense that he played tonight. He shut Lawan Watts down. I mean, he went 1 for 9, 5 points, 3 of those coming from the free throw line. So to be able to held one of their starters down like that, and his length, the way him and JoJo played tonight, they were on a string and they were on one accord, and the way they won the low post battle, and we ended up winning the guard battle thanks to Kingston, but they were huge. I mean, they were huge, and both of them finished with double-double. The defense that they both played tonight was tremendous. I mean, just the communication, they really seemed locked in.
Let's take a moment and pause for a second to first shout out to today's sponsors for this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, starting with Steve Saxenian, who's the primary sponsor of not only tonight's episode of Let's Rage Coogs, but has been the primary sponsor each and every single game for both football and men's basketball. So again, big thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, the original Houston post-game show for each and every single football and men's basketball game. Of course, also a big thank you to Star Pizza for being a secondary sponsor on this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. With multiple locations throughout the Houston area, Star Pizza is your go-to spot before or after the game. Be sure to check them out online at starpizza.net. Check them out on social media at Star Pizza HOU on X, Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram. They've been busy when it comes to, again, to capitalize. They got a big shout out from Kelvin Sampson on Monday afternoon. And take this moment to plug a giveaway courtesy of Star Pizza and Hoop and Holler. Let me give me a second to put it on the screen. But tomorrow, if you're interested in being back at the Fertitta Center, this time for women's basketball hoops. Let's see if I can get this here on the screen. If you are interested, we are doing a ticket giveaway on X. All you got to do is simply repost the tweet that is on our account at PodStimePajama on X. You see it on the screen at PodStimePajama. And you can be in attendance for Wednesday's game, 6:30 p.m. tip-off between Houston and Kansas State. We're going to extend the time. If you are interested in going to this game, there's 2 tickets to go see the Houston Cougars take on Kansas State. So go back to the Fertitta Center and see some Houston Cougars hoops under Coach Mitchell and the women's basketball team. If you are interested, go to our X channel and repost that. We will announce a winner on Wednesday morning. So if you are interested, head over there, repost, and we shall see who comes out with those 2 tickets. So you can go yourself and take a +1 to go see some Houston Cougars basketball on the women's side on Wednesday evening, 6:30 p.m. tip-off against Kansas State. Last thing about our plugs real quick, just in terms of if you are interested in being a potential future sponsor on Let's Rage Coogs, you can do so by reaching out via our email, letsragecoogs@gmail.com, all lowercase. We can do the banners that you see on the screen, and we're always open for different options. So if you want to get a little bit more creative, Kris and I have done a commercial in the past for Star Pizza. We have a lot of different ideas that will hopefully be unveiled later on in the coming weeks. So get at us at the email that you see on the screen, Let's Rage Coogs @gmail.com, and help us provide more coverage of the Houston Cougars. Hopefully we get to hear from Kris here shortly, who again is from the Fertitta Center. So when he gets a chance, he'll be able to hop on and give us his perspective about what head coach Kelvin Sampson and head coach McCaskill for the Texas Tech Red Raiders had to say following this victory for Houston 69-65. Crabtree had a very interesting comment on YouTube. He says, "Good point on the UH defense today. This was Tech's lowest point today all season. By far, UH defense is steadily improving." And going back to your point, Dayon, that you said earlier, the biggest difference is you hear the phrase often when it comes to defenses that are really, really strong in basketball. And this, a lot of times they move on a string, right? That everybody knows what the rotation's supposed to be, who's supposed to cover depending on what the offense does. And today was by far that wasn't perfect. There were stretches earlier in the game where there might have been a few lapses, but again, especially down in crunch time. Now, whether it was the Texas Tech kind of ran out of gas, but UH did a phenomenal job of suffocating them, and for the lack of a better comparison, right, kind of putting their foot on their throats and finishing them off, and I'm just suffocating them. And in the stretch of that 14-3 run in the final 3 minutes and change to really put this game away and come away with the victory.
Yeah, they did. They did. And what really was watching the game, what plagued us from running off with it and making it an even bigger win. I mean, credit to Tech's defense. They did play good defense, but we didn't really execute well in the half court. There was a lot of pick and roll or isolation where we had to make a play. Our credit is Tech's defense, but if we could have executed better in our sets, I think we would have won by even a larger margin.
And with that being said, let's welcome in the third member of today's edition of Let's Rage Coogs, Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, joining us live from the Fertitta Center. Kris, first and foremost, how you doing on this Tuesday night now? It's about to be midnight.
I'm doing all right. People are still milling around over here at Fertitta Center, like they had no place to go home. So that was kind of why I'm late joining you guys here. But I want to try to just pull this up. A quick comment from Coach Sampson. It's about a minute and a half. And Andy, I'm going to try to just share it from my laptop. So it might take up the whole screen. So we just we're going from there. Is that okay?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. So let's see if we can do this. Share media. Let me see which one I want to do. Yeah, share media. But before I get it, hell of a game, man. I told a lot of folks after the game, that was fun. I love Big 12 basketball, man. That was fun.
How's the atmosphere, Kris?
Fantastic. It was great, and it was loud. Tech fans were here, but they were drowned out by Coug fans. I think I'm not going to label it, but somebody got escorted out. I'm assuming it was a Tech fan, but it could have been a Coug fan. Who knows? But somebody got escorted out by security. But hell of a game. It was just so much environment in here, and it's while we love Big 12 basketball, man, and we got 16 more of these to go.
Yeah. To your point, Kris, about just how loud it was. He even got a shout out from Coach McCaslin, and he acknowledged how loud and how electric the Fertitta Center was.
Yep. So here we go. Coach Sampson.
Joe had 10, but the difference was CNET. I thought that was, CNET missed, just the side of the backboard on the wide open three. Of course, we were pretty good at that tonight, missed a lot of shots. But I just think that the reason why neither team played great was the other team. And I hate it when coaches walk into these press conferences and talk about what their team didn't do without giving credit to the other team. Texas Tech deserves a lot of credit for the way we played. And they didn't guard us at the free throw line, and they didn't guard us on some of those shots Milo's missed. But they missed some shots too. Just two good teams. That's what happens, you know. We just played a team Saturday. It was the number 6 defensive team in the nation, Cincinnati. I think we're 8th or 9th, whatever we are, but Cincinnati's number 6. There's a reason why you don't play great against great defensive teams. But Texas Tech's good. I thought it would be this kind of game, but that's part of our guys for hanging in there and finding a way to win against a really good team.
Great comment from Houston Cougars head coach Kelvin Sampson. I mean, yeah, that's a great point. The analogy I used, or the comparison I used earlier in the show, it was truly a tug of war battle between both Texas Tech and Houston in this game. Like Dayon mentioned, the largest lead of the game was Houston when they went up 7, and that was damn near at the end of the game when Houston finally was able to create that separation and essentially put the game away. But it was kind of like a game of runs, and to Kelvin Sampson's credit, these were two really good teams with electric crowd, electric atmosphere, and just big time players all around that made plays.
Yeah, and down the stretch, I know y'all said it, and I'm going to say it 'cause it's my first time joining tonight's show. I typed it on Threads and Instagram post. Kingston Flemings is special.
Mm-hmm.
He is a special talent, and we touched on it Saturday's show. He's looking like Jamal Shead again. That kind of dude down the stretch, get the ball in his hands.
Hey, I'm gonna go out and say it. He's better than Jamal Shead. He's better than Jamal Shead.
Potentially, but I mean,
no slight to Jamal Shead, but
he still has to prove it. But far and away,
he needs the consistency.
He's taller, more athletic, all those different things. Yeah, but the confidence that he has, he's fearless. Coach said that as well in post game. To take that pull-up three-pointer, to nail it. His first 4 threes, most of them were bad misses. They weren't close.
Yeah.
But he had confidence to take that shot, and then the deep three he hit to ice the game. He's a special dude. He's a special dude, and not many people in the country have a player like that on their team.
To your point, when he stepped in that pull-up three-pointer that put Houston up initially up by 1. They were down 2 to take it, to have that the courage to take it. It goes back to Sampson's comment about him being fearless. But it's phenomenal. It's awesome to see him kind of take over and again have that, be cold-blooded. And
now his defense is not Jamal Shead defense. That's not. I mean, why would it be? 14 games into his freshman season.
Yeah,
because he lost Jalen Petty a few times on great curls, and he has to learn how to do a better job chasing guys coming off baseline screens, things like that. But he'll get there with that. But just the fearlessness to take that shot down the stretch, he's special. He's a special player, and thank you for choosing Houston over Texas Tech, Kingston Flemings. So, yeah, great game again. Great game. Commissioner Yormark was here. A few of the Big 12 front office people were here, so I know they were thrilled at the environment, the atmosphere, the competition. One of the things Coach McCaslin said, he loves playing in this building. He loves the atmosphere. He loves playing against Houston because of the physicality. And this is Coach McCaslin from Texas Tech. If you can't handle the physicality in these games, in Big 12 games, then don't be here. I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel about it. This is big boy basketball. This is and I love that about the Big 12, and 60 more of these in regular season, regular conference play, and then Big 12 tournament, and then hopefully all the Big 12 teams do well in the NCAA tournament.
Kris, do you know if did Commissioner Yormark have any availability? Did he talk to anyone?
He did not. He did not. I shook his hand. He got here probably 6:30, and he was walking down. And I shook his hand, and that was it. No, nothing official. I know one of the other two big wigs. I spent more time talking to him because he and I have a Detroit Pistons connection. So we were talking about last night's win over the Knicks. So, but yeah, no official availability. No.
Real quickly, the two final points I want to make about Kingston Flemings, and Kris, you touched on, didn't get off to the best start offensively in this game, but that again goes to show the sign of a good player when they're able to put that, maybe not the best performance, a struggling performance at the beginning, put that in the rearview mirror and still finish with big time plays. And in this case, the big three pointers that he hit in the final 2 minutes of this game to lift Houston past. That's a trait that a lot of big time players have, and it's good to see that from the freshman in this game. And second, before he pulled up for one of those threes, he passed it to Kris and Nag, and Nag passed it right back
real
to
quick.
him.
Kris did not want that ball off.
That might be the last time that Flemings ever passes it in that situation ever again.
And Kris, he's not comfortable in that position right now, clearly, because he didn't want it at all.
I mean, I'm not just in that moment. It was 7 seconds on the shot clock. Kingston wasn't set for a shot, so he had to give it up to get it right back to be able to get set to be able to take a shot. So I mean, that was smart for Kris because Kris had a defender right in his face. He wasn't even. He would have been trying to fling up a shot. So it was smart. If I remember correctly, it was like 7 seconds on the shot clock. So he had to get it right back to him for him to be able to have time to either drive or make the shot. So that was a timely play by Kris in that moment to get it right back to Kingston for him to have time to be able to make a play.
I don't know if y'all have ever seen the meme or the video where I think it was D'Angelo Russell and LeBron, where Russell he passes it off to LeBron. LeBron gives it right back to him, and D'Angelo Russell hits the pull up. It reminded me of that in that situation. Get back to Flemings, and Flemings, rose up, set his feet like Dayon said, and hit the big time shot.
But we're talking about two different plays. Yeah, because the deep three was the second one. The one that Kris passed it up, he was in the at the painted area, the free throw line area. He didn't want that ball. He didn't want, and that's okay. He rebounded much better tonight. He crashed the boards down the stretch. He was a man. He got those rebounds, so that was good for him to step up and crash the glass. And you saw how important for a stretch. Overall, rebounding was pretty even, but Texas Tech got two key offensive rebounds when he scored 5 points off of those. One of those, Milos got beat, and Kris got beat on one of them, actually. But for a few minutes, Coach put in Ramon Walker, and he kind of went big, for the Cougs, because you had Ramon like at the 2 or the 3 there, because they were getting beat on the boards. So Ramon's defense set up, helped set up things down.
Another point was that too, because he had Emmanuel on Anderson most of the time. So the other guard got hot, so he moved Emmanuel off to him and put Ramon on Anderson. That was part of the reason that he brought him in too, just to keep one of his better defenders on Anderson, so he's unable to kind of get loose.
And they did a great job on Anderson. Anderson didn't shoot the ball well. The 3-point he made was a bad beat. Folks who bet know what I'm talking about in terms of bad beat. That's that 3 to end the game. He didn't make shots, but this great defense, good defense by both teams. Some shots I think both teams feel they could have made, but they didn't tonight. But it wasn't a lot of ticky-tack fouls called. Both teams played. It wasn't a question of key players being in foul trouble or nothing like that. I mean, possessions were like 65, 64. So it was a low possession, methodical pace, and Kingston Flemings down the stretch took over. And this year, what is it? 15 games in for the Cougs. It could come down to Houston has Kingston Flemings, and nobody else does. That's what it could come down to on the last game on Monday night. And if that does happen, fellas, and he comes through, y'all get the phones ready, because it's gonna happen before we go away. It's gonna happen.
Kris Gardner
I'm gonna be acting ignorant. Yes, I'm gonna go viral. Yes.
From Indiana, from Lucas Oil Stadium, speaking into existence, April 2026. NRG texted on YouTube, the whistle was good. Houston made some bad, ill-timed fouls. Can't complain about that. Talking about the whistle, that was an interesting situation in the first half where JT Tubman found himself in the exact same similar play that almost got him kicked out last year and led to the ejection of McKiver. And then this time tonight, they ruled that incidental contact, play on, which I think that should be, that's the correct call. Very interesting how that played
And
out.
it's ironic. It was opposite side of the court because last year it was in front of the folded chairs, and this side it was in front of the Houston bench. But oddly enough, Brian Thornton, the vice president of Big 12 men's basketball, one of the things he mentioned during his segment on Big 12 radio was he referenced last year's ejection of Toppin, and he said this over the summer they changed that rule. So that was probably a reason it was called tonight incidental contact. Ramon Walker's manhood did not feel it was incidental because any guy knows that is pain. That is unbearable pain. But he stayed in the game, and he is a very good college player. Very good. I don't know if he'll have an NBA career or anything like that, but he is a hell of a college player for sure.
Kris, what do you think about JoJo Toler's performance tonight?
Overall, it was good. He crashed the boards. I was surprised after a timeout that they went to him down low, and he scored. So I was surprised twice.
Yeah.
It was a 4-point game. He scored the left hook. I was surprised on that twice. They went back to him. He didn't go with his left hand, and Toppin blocked it.
Stuffed, yeah.
So, JoJo's learning as well.
What about it? Like you mentioned it, but his performance on the offensive rebounding specifically finished with 7. Just seemed very, very active. I think this easily his best performance so far this season.
Agreed. And everybody who's part of Let's Rage Coogs, this is what he can do when he avoids early foul trouble. When he keeps himself in the game, he can crash the boards. He can get some putbacks offensively. He can help his team. And he did it tonight. He didn't have the bad fouls in the first half. Emmanuel Sharp, same thing. He didn't have bad fouls in the first half. He did a good job playing defense, and he scored. He carried the team in the first half offensively and played good defense on Anderson. But Jalen Petty, kudos to him because he made some tough shots, and he's a promising young player too. There's so much talent in the Big 12 overall. Man, this is a great league to cover.
Kris, anything else stood out to you either about Houston, about Texas Tech in this game, or just the way things played out? I guess I'll ask you that, but then I'll also segue into a little bit more specific. What you think of Houston's defense down the stretch? Last 3 minutes of the game, they end essentially before that final 3-pointer that Texas Tech hit to cut it 69-65. They went on a 14-3 run. They held Texas Tech to just 3 points for almost 3 minutes and 30 plus seconds of the final game of the game.
I think Houston's defense did what Dayon has said plenty of times on LRC. They wore Tech down. They wore Tech down because a couple of the turnovers Tech made, one of them, Christian just lost the ball. But the pressure was getting to him. And the other one, I think Donovan Atwell dropped the ball out of bounds. Pressure bust pipes, man. So it wears on you. It takes its toll down the stretch. And Texas Tech had maybe 3 or 4 turnovers in those final 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Houston's defense wears teams down, and it happened again tonight, and allowed Kingston to come through with those clutch buckets in the closing moments.
In the game against Duke, their go-to player is really Anderson, and the way we guarded him tonight, credit to Emmanuel and both of the bigs when they helped on those screens, he's just unable to get loose. So I think that plagued their drought going down the stretch, which credit to our defense and credit to the staff for the game plan to realize the importance of the emphasis of slowing him down. And so that was big, and it was a really hard fought win. I mean, like Kris said, and we kind of talked about it before he joined. I mean, both bigs really took the challenge and really swallowed up the glass. I mean, they really dominated the glass, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, and they both had double doubles. I mean, it was big. Both shot good free throws. I think Kris missed one. JoJo went 3 for 3. And it was just it was tough. I think they really looked on the challenge. I'm sure they were really challenged to really defend that home loss last year. And even though it was without Toppin for 90% of the game, 95% of the game.
Yeah.
And so I think they were really, really locked in on that.
And it's a team win. Coach said, the team found a way to win because tonight Milos didn't shoot well
Mm-hmm.
overall. But Emmanuel bounced back from his poor shot shooting against Cincinnati. He shot the ball well. And Kingston came through with those two clutch threes, finding ways to win. It's interesting to me and to us how 14-1, this team is younger than last year's team without a doubt, but they're finding ways to win. Yeah, we still have a few fans like, I don't know about this year's team. I don't know. This year's team is just going to win games differently, and everybody has to get used to that and enjoy the ride.
To your point, Chris, and I mentioned this earlier, but with this win over Texas Tech, Houston improves to 14-1, like you just mentioned, and they're still perfect in conference play. Still early, obviously, just the second game of Big 12 play, but they're still 2-0 in conference play, so it's always nice to see that, regardless of what time of the year it is when it comes to conference play. But overall, 14-1. They'll be back in action on Saturday on the road in Waco against Baylor. That's going to be a 12 p.m. Central Time tip-off, a Peacock game for the Cougars. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of coverage Peacock has. But that's what's up next for Houston. Overall, again, final score from the Fertitta Center in Houston. The Cougars come away with a 69-65 victory over 14th ranked Texas Tech. Again, Kingston Flemings led the way, 23 points. Emmanuel Sharp right behind him, 17 points. Like you mentioned, Chris Sharp did a really good job, not only bouncing back from this past Saturday's offensive struggles against Cincinnati, but also carrying the load offensively for Houston in that first half, and then providing a spark. The double-double for the Bigs, Chris Anak, 11 points, 11 rebounds. Jojo Tugler, 11 points, 10 rebounds. And again, just really, really solid performance top to bottom for these Houston Cougars, and what arguably could be their overall most complete performance, certainly at least up there with Arkansas so far in the young season.
And two different wins. Arkansas, they outscored. They scored, was it 95 points? They got one, something like that against Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
This
94 points, 94 against Arkansas.
This one was a grinded out victory. So it's good to be able to win different ways. And I think this team will do that. They will find different ways to win this year, the rest of the way. And I don't know if you've put it on the screen, but go ahead and do it before we wrap it up here. If you want to be part of our postseason coverage with the team, contact Andy at letsragecoogs@gmail.com. And it's going to be an enjoyable ride. And the ultimate goal is still within reach and within our sight. I think Andy's going to act a little ignorant too if we win the championship. And me and Dayon going to be running around high-fiving, high 10 people and, all kinds of stuff, jumping up and down and Fluff as well. So, yep. This is a fun. And I want to say this as an aside. Commissioner Yormark left his baseline front row seat and came up to talk to Coach Willie Fritz.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
that's big time.
So that was cool to see him talk. So there was, like I said, no media availability, but it was Yormark and Coach Fritz talking for probably a couple of minutes about who knows what. I'm sure Commissioner Yormark, thank Coach Fritz for what he's accomplishing and what we believe he's going to do in the future.
That's big time. That's awesome to hear. And really, just the commissioner of the Big 12 having a high opinion of the University of Houston, specifically with the football program right there. It shows how highly he thinks of Coach Willie Fritz.
And I want fans, us as Coug alums and fans and supporters, to start putting into practice what we believe can happen. Texas Tech has a lot of money. They got Cody Campbell, great. But in terms of size of city, we're the largest city in the Big 12. If Houston becomes that flagship team in the conference, that's much better for the conference. Okay, because there's still too many people who hate on the conference and outsiders. Think Big 12 is just a bunch of cowtown teams and cowtown cities, and we're small time and don't mean anything and blah 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 blah. But if the Giant wakes up and stays awake, and we start running the conference in football like we do in basketball, come on, people, let's do our part. Cougs helping Cougs, we can go a long way for a long time. Sustained success, not one hit wonder success. Sustained success. That's what we all want.
Let me take this moment to thank everybody that's taking the time out of their Tuesday night to watch us and support us. We've had a lot of comments on YouTube, on X, a good amount of viewers for this late night show. So big thank you to y'all, and repost this. Give it a like if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't. This is your first time ever on the Potsdam Jamma YouTube channel, Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Chris, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of post-game video content going up on your channel. So be sure to give the Houston Roundball Review a subscription and be on the lookout for all his post-game coverage following this game between Houston and Texas Tech. And I want to put up the email one more time on the screen. That's richcoogs@gmail.com. One of the goals I have, I want to go on the road when they play Texas Tech this 2.5 weeks from now when they're in Lubbock.
On Saturday, yep,
That's going to be a big time game. So if you are interested, let me keep it up there for a second. Let's RageCoogs@gmail.com.
Yeah, let's help.
You need to get off fire because I need to figure out who I have to email so I can get credentialed first for that. But if I do get credentialed, listen, like I said, Chris is from the Fertitta Center. He got that post game clip from Calvin Sampson. He's going to have much more content after post game coverage. I'm sure you'll have clips from the Texas Tech side and UH players as well.
It'll be tomorrow.
It
won't be tonight, but yeah, it'll be tomorrow after I get back from school. Yeah.
Be sure you're on the lookout. But ultimately, the more support you have, the more coverage it is of U of H that, quite frankly, can't be found anywhere else. So make sure you support. Any bit helps. Let's RageCoogs@gmail.com. And that brings me to my final point. Shout out Giovanni8209 on YouTube for the super sticker. Like I said, every single bit helps. It doesn't matter. Anything helps, and even if it's just a simple repost, a retweet, even if it's a simple word by mouth. Hey, check these guys out on YouTube on Let's Rage Coogs, Potsdam Jamma. Big thank you. And listen, you talked about the sleeping giant in the football team. I mentioned it after the bowl game, but we can most definitely, we are a sleeping giant. We are. There's so much potential that we can do, and you mentioned, Chris,
and we're starting.
We all got full-time jobs, so we're like doing this. It's not even part-time. We're doing this when we have time here and there. Yeah. So support, appreciate.
I'll be going to getting up for work at 4:00 in the morning, so a few hours from now to go to work at a high school. So yeah, but I want to let my brothers know, guys. I lost count about how many people came up to me tonight and either said, "Let's rage, enjoy your coverage. We're going to watch you tonight. Y'all doing a show tonight." I mean, people know who we are. Okay, we are starting to get that recognition and that respect and appreciation. And I thanked everybody for those kind words. And onward and upward, we've already accomplished a few things in just these 6 days of this new year, and we got more ideas in store for the rest of this year. So continue supporting us and email Andy. And again, let's enjoy this ride, because I think that the Giant, he's awakening, and people are going to start to recognize who Houston Cougars Athletics is, as well as Potsdam Jamma, Let's Rage Coogs, and the Houston Roundball Review.
Last comment for either of you, but we just got this comment from YouTube. Any specific thoughts on the upcoming matchup against Baylor?
James Najee, home game for Source Waco, so he won't get booed, and he shouldn't get booed. It's not his fault. Coach Drew took advantage of the rules. Okay, so Baylor's still banged up. They may have 8 healthy players. It's a game the Cougs should win. The Waco crowd's going to try to carry the Bears as far as they can. But the Cougs do what they do. The Trinity, rebound, limit turnovers. They'll be fine. Win the game. And they win Saturday. The next 2 games after that, we're doing stuff that Coach Sampson doesn't do. and gets on us for doing, looking past the next opponent. But the next 3 games kind of set up nice for the Cougs. They could be 5-0 before Andy's game in Lubbock against Texas Tech.
Yeah, Baylor got some good guards. They always keep good guards year in and year out. He got some
Tunde
good
Yesufu,
guard. Yep.
hell,
There's one.
hell of a
Yep.
talent.
Yep, him along with Cameron Carr. I mean, those two can put the ball in the basket. So I'm looking forward. It's gonna be a tough matchup. Baylor. I mean, of course, when we come to town, it's the biggest draw. So I'm expecting the pack house. I'm expecting them to give us their best game. But it's one thing. We got Kingston. They don't.
Yeah, no, that's it. And see the comment from Young Wiz. Thank you for that. Looking forward to the one regular season matchup between Houston and Arizona. Boy, that was a fail by the conference. Man,
And one time against Iowa State. That's a fail too.
That's a fail. 2 fails right there. But I mean, what's done is done. We can't do anything about it. But
What's good for Houston is that one meeting between Arizona and the Cougars is going to be right here in the Fertitta Center on a Saturday, so that's going to be a big time game.
in ABC, that's going to be ABC. So yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in to Let's Rage Coogs. And we talk about the Cougs, obviously, but we also credit the Big 12 teams as well. Because, we are becoming a Big 12 show also. So let's just keep that in mind as well. We want all the teams to do well, except when they play the Cougs. So that's fair.
One final shout out to today's sponsors on this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. Big thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor. Big thank you to Mike and Jennifer Pittman with Star Pizza for being a secondary sponsor. Be sure you check them out. Check Star Pizza specifically on their social media platforms. Star Pizza HOU on X, Star Pizza Houston, Texas on Instagram, and check out any one of their locations throughout the Houston area for some delicious pizza and their all-you-can-eat pizza buffet on Tuesdays and Fridays during lunchtime. And also be sure you tell them about that you heard about Star Pizza on Potsdam Jamma Let's Rage Coogs Houston Roundball Review. Kris, it's a perfect segue. I'll toss it over to you because you did a great job setting up Star Pizza and a local college basketball team.
Yeah, kudos to Mike Pittman for the idea and suggestion. I reached out to Texas Southern women's basketball staff Friday, and within minutes, they accepted the idea that was suggested. And Monday, a few of the members of the team and the staff went to Star Pizza, and they were treated by Star Pizza and posted the picture on the platforms and trying to get that involved. Some other local teams as well. Possibly can't do it with Houston because of ties to their marketing people. But if there's a will, we're going to make a way to do it. But it's all about connections. And Star Pizza is a supporter of Let's Rage Coogs. Star Pizza is also a supporter of the Houston Round Bar Review and a member of the online business directory as well. So if you want to participate in the Houston Round Bar Reviews directory, just email me also. And it's follow me on the platforms, and I'll give you the information on how to do it. It's I think, very reasonably priced. And Cougs Up and Cougs is the real thing. I want everybody in H-Town to succeed, but I want my alma mater to shine the brightest.
Real quick, let me just add, when Kris says minutes, he means minutes. That got set up. The whole process probably got set up with a span of less than 15 minutes. So, one, I think, Kris, that's where you got to get your flowers. That goes to testament to the level of respect that you have among coaches in the Houston area, because they got back to you quick. And you
I was surprised how fast
that was like, I'm not exaggerating. When that whole thing got set up within 15 minutes, so that just kudos to you, Kris, because that shows the level of respect and that coaches have for you. Which again, testament why. You just the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. If you get that reference, ball. But Kris Gardner been doing it since when, Kris?
1994. And
Respect, sir.
much love. So wrap it up right there so I can toss it over to my brother Dayon. The Houston Round Bar Review since 1994. Local name, global perspective.
Big time win. A great performance by Kingston. Looking forward to watching being with you guys the rest of the year. Looking forward to this upcoming game against Baylor. Another in-state team that I'm looking forward to putting the belt to them and getting this dub in their house and letting them know that we run the state, we run the conference. And as always, go Cougs.